Okay, so this is one of my preliminary tests, but I think this will be going straight up on my main channel. What it is, I've been doing some pretty funky stuff recently with like action cams and stabilizers and small camera systems, quite specifically for vlogging. So what I'm going to start doing is not make a big meal out of intros on some videos and just lash them up, and if people like them, they like them. It's just that I'm kind of coming up with some like very interesting results from some of the stuff that I'm using. So anyway, what it is, I've recently started like laying into me GoPro 4, or it's actually the 4 Black, so that's the one without the screen and stuff, but it's got the really good mic interface on it. Now, the reason why I got it was very specifically for the microphone interface, but after doing a couple of quick videos the other day, I've worked out that its internal microphone is actually really good. So what you're hearing right now is the internal microphone, which has had a bit of EQ applied to it and then some limiting. Now, I wouldn't normally mess around that much in post with like vloggy or just like stuff which isn't like mega high production and stuff, but literally I've took about I'd say this will take me about 20 seconds to get this EQ and this sound right, so it's like no time at all. And as far as I'm concerned, it's very impressive. So the thing is, what I'm doing is trying to pair up the GoPro 4 in this mode. Oh, by the way, yeah, all I've literally done is put a dead cat on the top, so it's one of those little micro wind jammers by Rycote. Anyway, that's the only, so that's the only thing on that's like blocking wind and stuff, and hopefully it's doing it really well. There is a breeze. So anyway, what I'm doing, I'm quite specifically now testing the best gimbal system for the Hero 4. So right now, what it is, I am on the Zhiyun what's the name, Evolution, which is a fairly old gimbal, but I managed to pick it up for like £56 as an Amazon warehouse deal, and I thought, well, for 56 quid I'd be a mad not to, because what it is, this particular gimbal is designed for action cams and it will fit a load of them as well. I've tried me 4K Plus in it as well, inside a rubber case and all kinds of stuff, and it went in fine. But anyway, yeah, so this particular one, it's fairly old now. I think they were about 250, 300 quid when they first come out. I think you can still pick them up maybe for like 130, but for 56 quid, it was a no-brainer. And then on top of that, it's a very kind of robust, it's like proper, like it's a proper milled aluminium kind of thing. It's probably some kind of aircraft grade type thing as well, but it's really solid, and there's no plastic on it whatsoever. It's mad. Anyway, so I'm going to test this and just move about a little bit with it, and I'm specifically just testing it for stabilization. Also, this is going to be good to get an idea of what's going on, you know, with the sun as I'm going in and out of exposure against the sun and such. Now, the other thing that I'm going to do with this, I'm going to test this against me Smooth Q as well. And the reason is because what I'll do, I'll test this in a second, because I'm going to go quiet, because what it is, there is a very high-pitched squeal on this particular gimbal. It's not, I mean, it's not noticeable to us humans, as it were, but a lot of the cameras that I've tried with it, I've tried 3 cameras with it, and they've all picked up the squealing. Now, outdoors, it's probably arguable that you're not going to pick it up really, but what I'm going to do is just do a little bit of a gap in a sec, or a bit of silence, and see if it gets picked up. Oh yeah, sorry, here's the gap that I was talking about with the silence. Now I'm waving it about there as well, but to be honest, it doesn't matter whether you're moving it or not, because the motors are already engaged at some point anyway. So what I'm going to do now, just to kind of round off the test with this before I move over to the Smooth Q, because the idea is to work out if there's a benefit to either one for stabilization, although the Smooth Q will be better for noise, and I'll explain that when I get onto the Smooth Q. So what I'm going to do now is just move around quite rapidly with it, and then just test it, you know, moving quite fast, as it were, for stabilization. So I'm not paying any attention to what I'm doing here whatsoever. I'm just being a complete mad tool Not paying any attention to like trying to walk like a ninja or anything like that. I'm not even looking at the camera for the best part of it, so I don't even know what the framing's like. Although I am in 4K wide on this. It will be in 1080, but it will be in 4K wide, so that should give me an idea of you know, how that's going to come out anyway, as far as stabilisation is concerned. And also I've just done a bit of silence and whatnot, so we know what that's like. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is switch over to these the Zhiyun Smooth Q, and I'm going to try that in 2 configurations as well and explain it as I do it. Okay, so I'm now over onto the Zhiyun Smooth Q, which I totally rate this gimbal. It's brilliant because it will work with very simple modifications with an action cam. Because all I've done here, I've got it mounted in like sideways, widthwise. So the clamp is sideways, and I just put a little piece of rubber next to the GoPro and clamp it in. And the reason why I put the rubber in is only so that the grip system doesn't trigger the wireless button on the side of the GoPro and put it into like wireless configurations and such. Anyway, so what I'm going to do, in fact, I'll do the silence thing really quickly. There'll be no difference in tone. The tone of the dialogue will be the same. But if I go to quiet now and it's a bit more windier, let's see if we can hear any noise coming off this gimbal. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is just walk around a little bit with it like this. I'll just do like a little steady pace as I am right now, and then what I'll do like a bit of a mad walk, going like a bit crazy and stupid with it. I mean, it's debatable to say like whether I'm just crazy and stupid all the time, but I will deliberately be crazy and stupid with it in a minute. So the idea is just to see which of these 2 gimbals is like, well, is there any advantage to stabilisation between either of the 2 of them? And also, you know, which one's going to be better for audio? I've got a feeling it is going to be this one, because I've never noticed any noises coming off this against anything that I've ever put in it, and that be phones and all the rest of it. The only thing with this particular one is this is all plastic. And I don't think it's bad. It's not made badly or anything, and I've kind of battered this a bit and it's working brilliantly. The only thing is the camera may be a bit lopsided. It's not the gimbal, it's just the way that I've put it in, because it is still a bit cold because of all this snow and cold weather, and I'm trying to be quick with this so that my hands don't freeze. Anyway, so I think that'll give us a good idea about that casual walking thing. So what I'm going to do now is just walk around very fast like a total tool. In fact, let me just go in and out of shadow here and stuff like that. So I'm being just as you know, stupid and like mad as what I was before on the Evolution, not really caring what I'm doing, not trying to walk like a ninja, not trying to assist the stabilisation in any way. So it's going to be interesting to see if there's any differences with this. Okay, so I think this would be enough of walking around like a bit of a loon. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to switch the orientation of the gimbal now to see if there's any difference with that as well. Okay, so what I've done now, I've just changed the orientation of the grip. So now it's gripping vertically as opposed to like horizontally. So basically, I'm just trying to see, because what it is this way compared to the other way will change the centre of gravity and the mass for like the way that the gimbal feels and sees stuff and whatnot. So let me just walk around a bit slowly to start off with. Yeah, I mean, the other thing I'm not going to bother with this take, I'm not going to bother doing any silence. And the reason why I'm not going to bother doing silence is because the camera, or the position of the microphone on the camera and where it is going to be in the same position thereabouts as what it was on the other orientation. Or by that, what I mean is it's sufficiently far enough away from the motors to like not be, you know, a concern or anything. So whatever was on the first take will be the same for this take. There's also a bit of an argument here that this take may be a little bit more kind of like protected from wind because of the way that it's set, because the piece of rubber that I used to jam it in with is now sitting next to one side of the actual top of the camera, which basically means it might give a bit of wind protection from the side, I don't know. But this is effectively only to see if between these 2 orientations is there much of a difference within the stabilisation, and then whichever one of them, or if they're both the same, how do they compare to the Evolution. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is just kind of walk very stupidly, you know. Actually, I should apply for the Ministry of Silly Walks with Monty Python with this, I think. Okay, in fact, let me go in and out of this shaded area here. This isn't really a picture test as such, but I'm fairly sure, there's quite a breeze there now as well, but I'm fairly sure, you know, it's going to be something that people can have a look at, and look at the way that the picture looks on the GoPro 4 as well. But I'm just trying to think of things to say while I'm walking around. I'm actually trying my best to disrupt it, just to make it, you know, go all unbalanced and stuff. Yeah, so I think that's probably going to just about do it. Anyways, yeah, so without dragging this on any further, you know, if anyone's kind of watched this, like I said, I will have put it on my main channel. And the reason for doing that, like I said from the outset, is I'm doing a whole lot of testing at the moment. These things normally are only on my my test channel. But what I'm doing, because some of the tests I'm doing are actually coming off really, I mean, the results, the videos themselves may not be that good, or I might not be that good in them, but the results are actually quite stunning for some of the things that I've been trying, and especially this as well, the Hero 4, especially its internal mic with protected and then EQ'd and limited in post. I think it's amazing, and it stops you from having to kind of like wire up with another mic if you don't need to. You've obviously got the you've got the option of doing it if that's what you want to do, but you don't have to if you don't need to. And for very quick vlogs, I think it's one of them. You just may not want to put a mic on it, you know. The other thing as well is I'm finding the GoPro 4 Black to be, I don't know, I'm not going to say it's better than the 5, 6 and 7, but there's certain things about it which are better, and that is skin tones and exposure. It just seems to be way better. Just as a little side note as well, I've been recording in Pro Tune Flat here as well, and if I've done anything to the picture, I will have made a note at some point. In fact, if I have done, I'll make a note now. If I've touched it in post, the chances are I won't. Now, I wouldn't normally advocate just lashing up, you know, some kind of weird log file, which is all Pro Tune is. It just does a weird, you know, gamma curve in Rec 709. But I wouldn't normally just advocate like you using that stuff as is, because they're designed to be pushed and pulled in a grade. But what I found is the Pro Tune on the GoPro 4 Black, it doesn't look like it needs touching sometimes, especially in bright light like this. So the chances I'm going to leave this as it is. Anyway, I'm rambling like a complete and utter lunatic right now. So what I'll do, I'll give this a miss. I've done a test here, and you know, if people are interested, call back for some more of these tests, or I'll put a link in the descriptions here to me test channel, because some of the stuff I do will go on the test channel because it's not quite as cohesive as what I would put on my normal channel or on this channel. I'm going to say cohesive. I know this probably wasn't that cohesive, but yeah, it's one of them things. If you're interested in some very, very rough stuff, check out the link to the test channel, and I'll be putting a lot more of me very kind of like rough and ready camera and microphone stuff up there. Okay, so the last thing that remains for me to say right now is thank you very much for watching this video. Take care and goodbye now.